Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory. In this video, we're going to be looking for holes in some of the training and some of the videos of David Benavidez and David Morrell, and looking for training flaws. Now, for those of you that think that that's pretentious and all that stuff, I want you guys to know that everything that you guys know about boxing training and theory and film study and how to fight and controlling your opponent was extracted from my channel, right down to a very, very simple term. Anybody you hear using this term, I know, very innocuous, weight transition. Okay, when even just talking about the theories of weight transitions, you hear shitty coaches like Tom Yankello or Coach Anthony talking about transitioning your weight, or even the idea of a front foot position or a back foot position. All that stuff was taught on my channel. You can go back and look at it over the years, but my channel is the pioneer of all of this stuff, all of this theory. I'm the best. I'm the number one coach on the planet. If you guys want to learn how to do all this stuff, the easiest way to do all this stuff, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy, and I'll teach you. Okay, boxing's not hard. Okay, there's just a lot of bad teachers. There's a lot of people out there that let you get away with anything. You know, they don't have a system. If you want to learn my system, I'll teach you how to fight. I'll teach you the most efficient way to fight, most efficient way to train, and feel like you're growing. Okay. I'm also the first coach in history to be able to figure out how all of power punching works, all of body mechanics for striking, to teach you how to throw punches like Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, guaranteed. Check out the link in the description. If you want to learn how to do that punch and set it up, or if you just want the advanced striking course, check it out. There's no reviews on it yet, but it's really, really incredible course, really, really simple. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of what we see here from David Morrell. And now one thing that we don't like, when he goes back here, see how he brings his weight back to the back foot, nothing here, right? And you see how he has his left hand, or his right hand low. We want to be careful here because when we were moving toward the back foot, both of our opponents were on the front foot at the last beat, and now they're going to be moving toward the back or going to be following up. And if you're going to be leaving the line when your opponent was just at the front foot, meeting you on the line, there's going to be an opening here. Okay, and this is going to be very important that we understand that we need to be keeping our guard up, especially as we bring our weight to the back foot, because if our opponent surprises us with something, this is the position that we're going to snap into. Okay, we're going to move, and we're going to, and again, that's a Fouts boxing. Most people talk about snap, just as the punch. Oh, that punch has snap. But at Fouts boxing theory, snapping is a move. It's a theory. Okay, and when we do something really quick, we're going to snap into that position. Okay, or we're going to snap onto somebody's line. It doesn't have anything to do with the snap of a punch, right? But it's the way that we exert ourselves in many different positions. Okay, so if this is how he leaves the line, he's going to be snapping into this position when his opponent feints him. And we know that this is not a good position to wind up in when your opponent throws a jab or a stepping jab at you, because look at all the holes for a potential follow-up too. Okay? On top of the fact that it doesn't really block the left hand, right? The lead hand from our opponent either. A little bit of pivoting on the front foot. We can see only a little tiny bit of that getting to the front foot on his circling patterns. I love that he has so many combinations. He has so much activity, chaining things together really well. This move here is an all-time great flaw here. People think that they're going to throw that hook and then they're going to roll to the front foot. Number one, if you're going to be crossing the line and bringing your weight to your dominant foot, in theory, you're only going to be doing this if you have lead foot dominance. If you have lead foot dominance, it would be better to be punching the guy in the face right here. Now, if you do this to somebody and you don't have lead foot dominance, because this is a defensive move, you're going to be doing what Zab Judah did over and over and over and over again against Miguel Cotto, and it broke my heart to watch him get beat up pivoting on the front foot. But this is an all-time great flaw, especially as a southpaw. Especially as a southpaw, it's a very, very, very bad move. You cannot pivot on the front foot like this. This was one of the reasons why I thought Ryan Garcia had such a huge shot at beating Tank Davis, because Tank Davis does this. He does this move all the time. It's a huge mistake that he makes, pivoting on the front foot. The only other reason that Tank Davis made it out of the fight with Ryan Garcia is because he was allowed to cheat and duck below the waist and hold. If Tank Davis didn't do that, his boxing skill very likely would have wound up with him being annihilated by Ryan Garcia much earlier in the fight, because he couldn't stop Ryan early in the fight from hitting him, right? And again, flaws like this right, are easier to mask if you can just duck below the waist and grab and do stuff like that. But if you can't, when you make a mistake like this, you're gonna pay for it, especially against someone like Ryan Garcia or David Benavidez, a very, very, very fast and explosive fighter, snappy guy. Now, if you're just getting you're just moving around, you're just warming up, right? Rear hand. Does he throw a hook to get back to the other side? No. He's pulling back across the line, I guess. And then, huh? I guess. But usually, if you're organizing your sequences correctly, that's not really going to be a pattern there. Now, one thing I want to pay really close attention to, stepping jabs there. That didn't really look like a stepping jab. Stepping right there. Front foot, stepping back, stepping jab there. Now, if you only have a stepping jab, it is very, very, very difficult to get a knockout. Obviously, if you're just crazy explosive, right? But it's very difficult to get a knockout against a guy who's, a pretty okay fighter, right? And David Benavidez is more than an okay fighter, right? I'm not going to say that he can't knock him out, but the fact that he has such a stepping jab or a reliance on his stepping jab, pivot on the front foot. Again, he does this combination quite a bit. Boom, boom, pull, boom, boom. Okay, the second punches in each of the sequences not as common. There you go. Pivoting on the front foot and then taking a break to catch a jab and throw a jab here. And again, I want you to pay very close attention to the fact that bump, bump, he's stepping with this punch, okay? This means that he's going to have a very, very, very difficult time if he's not the aggressor. If he's not the guy closing the distance while he's circling and moving around, he's going to throw a stepping jab like that, and he's going to move into an opponent who is stalking him, okay? An opponent that is hunting him. Okay, this is how I like to talk about when I teach people and I coach them in person. Sometimes you're the hunted, and sometimes you're the hunter, right? And when you're the guy that's circling and moving around and allowing your opponent to be the hunter, right? It's their turn to go first, kinda. You're gonna let them come forward as you circle and move. If you only have access to a stepping jab, while your opponent is hunting and you have to control space, you're going to step into their line. And a lot of times that can be a very, very grave mistake. Just look at somebody like Shakur Stevenson, how low activity level they had in their fight. Now we have a couple of videos that we're going to take a look at again. Stepping jab, step, step. Stepping again, boom, boom, boom. Very, very fast. It's a good stepping jab. Now, does he have any urgency after he throws it? Not really. He's not getting off the line very quickly. There's not like a move that he's really connecting to it. Okay, like a little bit of getting off the line decently right there. Mostly just kind of getting his work out. This is actively a bad move. Jab, slip to the front foot, body shot. Actively bad. Why not just throw a 2 right there? You're just going to cross the line like that? You could just throw a 2 and control your opponent and then come back with the 3. And again, all the circling, he's still stepping, right? Now, boom, boom, boom. Very, very slow to get off the line here. Very, very slow. So David Benavidez's ability to work and catch off the jab in this fight will be very, very important. This will be one of those things that we really want to take a look at. Now, circling, moving around, right? Boom, boom. A little bit of leash right there, right? He's going to give his opponent, as he gets to the front foot, a little bit of control. This is a little bit of hope right here, right? Being able to throw a jab or control your opponent with a jab-like motion and not have to exert your stepping jab, not have to snap onto their line, right? So a good leash, and then allows him to change positions and figure out where he's going. Now, we know that we don't ever want to be in this position. Look at his feet. They're crossed. I don't want to say it doesn't matter, right? Because he's playing around, he's goofing around. He just controlled the line. He's going to take a step. This is going to be a mistake. At least he's moving away from the line, right? But things like that, the pivot right there, if he gets caught, and David Benavidez is a very explosive guy, right? These beats are not going to be free. This pivot right here, that's not free. If his weight gets stuck in this position, right? We take a look at his weight transition here. He brought his weight, heel, knee, head here, boom, boom, boom. And now he's going to be pivoting here, right? And that means that once he's there, his weight goes to the boom, boom. And now he's, again, check this out, heel, knee, head, right? His structure here. As he's pivoting, his head is going to stay basically in that position here. It doesn't really move very much, okay? And it means that he's going to be in a target when he's stuck in this position for a very, very, very long time as he waits to have to get his weight back to the back foot. Now, again, it's cool that he has those little goofy moves, you know, and if you guys take a look at some of my pre-fight stuff about Caleb Plant versus Canelo, I talk about some of his goofy moves and how he does those goofy moves, and they were going to cost him in the real fight, and they did, because Canelo's able to close the distance while you're doing your goofy shit and then hit you. Now, what are we not seeing a lot of, right? Not a lot of coiling, not a lot of down ups, you know, which tells me that David Morrell is going to get on the line and he's going to be looking to throw these combinations. We can see him doing a little bit of down up, right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, right? And he's getting his weight to the floor and then coming up with these combinations. But his sequences, while they may be long and prolonged, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then he has that one kind of pull back, that move right there. Again, this is one of his most common moves in his shadow boxing. So when you look for the fight, this is going to be one of those moves. But this is a very, very dangerous move, right? Very, very dangerous move because, I mean, number one, you throw this punch here, ba, ba, ba. Why not just throw a goddamn right hook right here? Oh, because he can't, right? Number one, it's very, very difficult to be going 1, 2, 3, right? We're going to take a look at some of that stuff too. There you go, a little bit of speed, right? Again, that's his move, right? Now, the pull, bop, bop, and he's pulling straight back. It's not allowing him to get his weight into this shot. It's not a pull, like a Fouts boxing pull counter, the way that I teach them. It also means that combinations are going to be easier to hit on him. He's going to have a harder time knowing where his head's supposed to go when he throws his punch. All of these things wind up being very, very, very bad ideas or very, very huge flaws in the open sense. However, right? However, when you're as fast as this guy, right? It doesn't always matter. I don't want to say it doesn't always matter. Jesus. But it's not going to be as important because David Morrell actually has punching power. You know, and when you actually have punching power, you know, some of his mechanics are pretty good. I do want to say he's very strong. He's been doing this for a very long time. Number two, he doesn't really have head movement other than that pull, though, right? So getting back to the idea of what we're seeing in his stuff, right? He is whipping his head back when he throws some of these boom to the back foot here. But his combinations, he doesn't really move his head. His head is basically always in the same spot unless he's doing that one pull. And, you know, I do want to say that, like, David Morrell obviously has a puncher's chance in this fight because he is a heavy-handed guy. And David Benavidez has been hit. You know, he's a hittable guy. Taking a little break here. Little jumping rope. Little, I don't know what fucking jump this is. The jerk? Is that the jerk? I don't know. Doing a little dancing with this rope. I have my own jump roping patterns and ways that I teach jump rope. If you guys want to know exactly how I teach jumping rope, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. The drills are posted. You know, but I think it's cool to be able to move around and, you know, do fancy stuff. But I also think it's very, very, very important that you have very structured ways that you get better. Okay, so you know, whatever he's working on here with his rope, you know, I think that some of his stuff is actually really bad here and it needs to be changed. I don't want to say because he's wasting his time, but like almost. You know, I'm also not a fan of his rope. Let's go ahead and see if there's any. All right, there you go. Picking it up a little bit, getting some Getting some speed in there. He's okay. He's all right. He's an okay roper. Little dancing. If you guys are into dancing, dancing is a great way to explore your footwork and learning how to move your feet. I know boxing coaches would probably tell you, oh, fundamentals, you got to work on that. But no, just goof around. To be honest, goofing around with your feet like this will be more valuable than most anything that some random crappy boxing coach who doesn't actually know shit about body mechanics is going to teach you, right? Look at him just goofing off. He's not fucking doing shit, okay? He's just having a good time moving his body around, okay? Very, very, very important. Obviously, if you can add some structure to that, right? That's better than just straight up goofing off. But, again, check out the Fouts Boxing Academy to see all the ways that I teach you people to goof off and get in shape and do it in a boxing way. All right, we're not going to watch too much of the jumping rope, though. A little backwards roping. All right. A lot of jumping rope, though. Couple of rounds. I was hoping for some mitts, but we are going to take a look at some of his mitt stuff. Now, it's very interesting because they get into the little pushing match. We're not going to watch it. Because we want to get straight to the workout and stuff. But I think that David Benavidez is actually worried about losing. I think that he's nervous. I think that him and Morrell are like they're like the polar opposites, right? Like it's back like when Rigondeaux fought Donaire, right? And Max Kellerman said that Nonito Donaire was the best pro he's ever seen. Something like that, right? You know, um, and he's a really good pro style, and Rigondeaux had a really good amateur style, some kind of bullshit like that, right? but I don't know what David Morrell's or what David Benavidez's actual. We're gonna watch this again while I'm just talking shit. What his actual accolades are, but David Morrell is like I think he was an Olympian, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Like he's you know the guy, and then David Benavidez is the guy that's the tough pro, like Nonito Donaire like kind of guy. Nonito Donaire was a guy. He was a guy in his time for sure. I was a big fan. He had a really good left hook, and I was left-handed, and my coach made me fight right-handed. So I was a big fan of him. Now, a lot of pace, right? Beat, 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 bump, bop, 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 bop. Right? Very high pace. There's that front foot pivot that I'm just a huge not fan of. You see how his head didn't really move here? He's going to bring his weight. Boom, boom, back foot, front foot, heel, knee, head on the left leg, pivots. And now his head didn't really move. Right? It didn't really get too far out of that zone. He's not going to be able to if he gets attacked in a position like that when he's pivoting there. It'll be very easy to follow up that shot because his head can't go anywhere. A little bit of blocking. Now, I want to point out a little bit of rolling here. All of that shadow boxing, none of that had any circling. It was so far it's all been striking. It looks like it's just his warm up. It looks like he's just trying to get his 2 feet punching going. Right? Down, up, up, up. Pivot on the front foot with the blocks. At least he had the blocks, but I'm not a fan. And again, like a little bit of this is like dramatized with the band and stuff, the mariachi going on, like, does he have full space? Beautiful speed. And again, very important in your shadow boxing that you practice stressing yourself and going fast and going hard. It's very, very, very important. Great sweat on Mr. Benavidez there. Take a look at what he's got going on in his mitts. Control, boom, boom. Okay, just standard 1-2s. His coach is in orthodox right now. He's fighting a southpaw, so his coach should be a southpaw right now. touch, and then explode. So like kind of an interesting style going from 0 to 100, boom, boom, and then exploding into that shot. Being very relaxed when he gets to this point here, and then ripping. Oh, not that time. Relax, 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 and then a hard shot, but just tap, 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 and then explode. Oh, just tap, 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 tap. Um, Kind of interesting. Mm. Is he a southpaw now? He is a southpaw. So very, very, very bad block. We can see his elbow there. His glove is like on his face, but we can see here when he touches him. Brother, why the hell are you trying to teach him to block a punch by smacking him on his forearm? Look at this fucking retarded ass block. If he does this in the fight with David Morrell, not only is he probably just going to get hit on the front side of his face, but if Morrell tries to go around the wrist, it won't be hard, right? Terrible, terrible block. Honestly, absolute crap. So many of the body mechanics are bad. Now, David Morrell, I gave him shit about not moving his head through anything. Ooh, beautiful speed. I love the speed from him. Um, and then a roll out. Boom, 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 boom. I don't really like the roll usually, but he's kind of going backwards instead of just to the side, so maybe he can disengage. It's also in the open stance, so at least when he rolls out that way, he will be getting away. Don't do that front foot pivot thing there. That was awful. He did one after that combination there. It was really, really gross. Um, Again, bad blocks. Now, not really doing anything but striking on the mitts right now. At least his coach is in southpaw. I do like the speed. That's a bad combination right there. You're gonna throw a two, three, and then you're gonna slip to the front foot when you could be throwing a two, and then throwing this could be a liver shot or it could be an uppercut to the head. I like that. That he's gonna be practicing that shot. The open stance southpaw means that the liver is closer to David Benavidez than it is to Morrell. There's no liver on the front side of David Benavidez here. The liver's over here. And on his coach, the liver's over here, right? So when he throws that shot, he could be hitting him in the liver. And being able to practice that shot will be very valuable because David Morrell is a puncher himself. So he's going to be letting his hands go. That's where he's going to shine, really, is in the offensive output against David Benavidez, right? No one's expecting this guy to be catching and blocking all that guy's crazy hand speed, right? And it's going to be really interesting to see, um, which one of these guys with no head movement, right, comes out ahead. No pun intended. But beautiful, beautiful hand speed. As long as David Benavidez keeps practicing the speed, Now again, when David Morrell moves straight back, he's not going to be getting his head off the line. And we're going to go ahead and move on to a little bit of David Morrell's camp here. And this is him with, I think this is Ronnie Shields. Stepping jab, step, step, step. Now, again, it's very, very, very important when we're looking at this and we say, oh, he shouldn't be stepping with all these shots. Can he get on the line without stepping? Because if we take a look at what he's doing with his striking, right, he is following the guy around. No head movement. He's not crossing the line. He doesn't have an active guard when he's doing nothing, right? Unless you count this rock back, rock forward, and he has no guard here when he gets to the front foot position. If somebody had like really good hand speed, right? Let's just pick somebody who has really good hand speed just randomly, right? Like say he was fighting David Benavidez, right? A guy with really good hand speed where he could just really just kind of while he's just chilling, whip into a left hook right there. And then because there's no guard here, eventually the guy's just going to be tired. It doesn't have anything to do with, oh, he'll see it coming. He's a real G. Hell yeah. No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Eventually, you're just not going to see it coming. It's just going to surprise you. He's going to hide it, or he's going to do something else, or, whatever it is. And as we see him with his guard here, this is really one of those things that makes this fight so exciting, is that Both of these guys guards suck. Both of their head movements bad. You know, as we can see, David Benavidez or David Morrell here getting a little bit of the weight transition, really trying to rip that hook right here. Getting on the line, boom, boom, boom. But his head still not really moving, right? Notice his head didn't really move, even though he's trying to really sink that weight into his back foot. But all these things wind up being very, very bad. So he's practicing some defense here. Let's take a look at these blocks a little bit better. Decent block. He sees the rhythm coming, but it could still go around the guard. Decent block here. That's decent block, right? It winds up going to the body, so he kind of tricks him a little bit. Decent block here because he moves off the line. Stepping off the line, is he getting away from it? This is a very dangerous move because if that winds up being to the head. But seeing the stuff coming a little bit okay. Not a fan of this move, right? Jab, slip to the front foot, uppercut, very, very dangerous because especially if you're in a guy, right? You get onto a guy's line and say you just go here, you just go jab, and then you go slip. And then let's just say like you do that in front of a guy, and then like, I don't know, let's say that you're fighting a guy who's like really fast, and then he gets on the line with you, and then he just goes bop, 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 right? Bop, bop, bop. Or he gets on the line with you, you slip on the front foot, you slip onto the front foot, and then he just gives you one of those, right? Right? You just wasted a whole beat. And this guy, pop, 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 he hits you with all these fucking punches. Right? It just doesn't make any sense. The move doesn't make any sense. There's no action here, right, to control him, right? You're just slipping to the front foot. Now, again, take a look at Ronnie Shields right here. What if he was just maybe throw a left hook right here? Right? While you're slipping to the front foot, right? Jab, left hook. All-time great flaw here, rolling to the front foot. Don't do this move, right? David Benavidez is fast enough that he could still throw a right hand right here, right? Or a right uppercut into another left hook, right? Isn't David Benavidez quick enough that if he threw that shot here, boom, he could throw literally this combination right here, right? Pop, 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 pop. Right? So moves like this that give your opponent a lot of extra space to throw punches and just flood the line. Those kinds of things, those kind of fake moves, David Morrell is going to have to be very, very, very careful of. Okay. Now, in terms of, and again, very bad roll to the front foot. Now, again, when we talk about the distinction between a good amateur and a good pro, we get back to a little bit of the psychology of it, right? And David Benavidez getting there and shoving him. He's always like 10 out of 10, talking all this shit. He's always angry. He's always, I think David Benavidez is, I don't want to say nervous, but like I think that this, it's a manageable stress for him. You know what I mean? But it really like puts him at that place, And I think that that's because, again, he's not the great amateur. He doesn't have the confidence of the amateur thing, And I think that there's a confidence there for David Morrell where, okay, everything that he's done in the pros so far has been like, had the Midas touch, right? He's beaten everyone up. He looked really good. He's got like barely 10 fights or 9 fights or something, and he's getting a fucking world title shot against a pound for pound unproven fighter, right? And I say pound for pound unproven because, if he keeps getting better, right? This is one of those synopsis things. Again, neither one of these guys have any head movement. Neither one of these guys is very good at fighting people who are as big as them, right? They're both pretty big for the division, I think. And I'm sure David Morrell has fought guys who are bigger than him, right? But he's also a southpaw. So he's a tall southpaw, so that pull straight back angle is going to give him more value because people are less used to hitting southpaws. But also he's tall for the division, so he gets extra advantage there. right? So I think that there's a confidence there in David Morrell that's not there in not there in David Benavidez, but David Benavidez I think understands the cost of business more than David Morrell, and that might mean that David Morrell comes out really trying to kill David Benavidez early. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen. He's just going to come out trying to blast him, you know. And I'm not sure how that's going to work against him. I do want to say that David Benavidez does not have the best defense, right? But he doesn't have the worst defense. But you only really got to get hit one time hard by David Morrell to lose the fight. A drill that he could just be doing on the heavy bag, by the way. He doesn't need a coach for this, right? Pivot on the front foot. Again, he tried to escape right there. Again, this is exactly the reason, right? Look at him trying to pivot on the front foot and coming up into a left hook, right? This is a fake move. You can't do that. He couldn't even do it against his short ass coach, right? All right, stepping jabs, 1, 2, and again, even I mean, I guess he didn't step exactly, but it is kind of it's still close. All right, let's see a couple more. See if he steps with all of them. This was a flaw that Hrgovic had as well, stepping with his jab all the time. And Ronnie Shields is also Hrgovic's coach. Hrgovic, yeah, his coach as well. Now this pace, that rhythm, very, very, very good. They could be going faster, but Ronnie Shields, he's old. Give him a break a little bit. But they could be going faster, but that's a really good drill for them to be doing. There's 1,000 ways you could do that drill. Again, you don't even need a coach to do that drill. Check out the Fouts Boxing Academy. I have drills to teach you to do that stuff all by yourself in your shadow boxing, your heavy bag work, and your double in bag work. All 1-1-2s, not very creative, not a lot of rear hand openings, right? And that's going to be a big, big, big problem in this fight because, again, if we're talking about a guy who's going to always step with his jab, step, pop, pop, even with the 1-2, especially if he's throwing a punch at a guy who's really fast. You see where Ronnie Shields' left arm is right now? He throws this one here. If Ronnie Shields just threw this left hook right here instead of catching the pad, he might knock David Morrell out. And David Benavidez might too. Very poor defense right there. All right, they're doing the fucking drill again. I don't care. Was that a rear hand probe? That kind of was. Still stepping with most of these jabs. I mean, this one's not bad. He does pivot on the front foot. Boom. Touch the lead hand. That's not bad. Into a stepping jab. So maybe he'll have a decent jab while he's circling. That one was a stepping jab right there. And that was a stepping jab into the 1-2. Okay. A lot of fake stuff right here. Boom, boom. But I like the pace. It is a lot of repetitive jab. 1-1-2. 1. 1-1-2. And it's the same, very, very poor defense after this move here. Again, you just can't do this move. It's fake. It's fake. All that circling right there is fake too. Anyway, let's go ahead and watch. We got one more little video here. Whoops, here we go. We got David Benavidez here doing a little bit of stretching, assisted stretching. All right. Now, this is a little bit more what I expect from David Benavidez with his circling. Again, still an ugly ass pivot on the front foot there. Ugly L steps right there, but decent moving around. They're going to go back to it a little bit too. Jumping rope a little bit. Not a fan of his jumping rope. It's not the worst though. All right. Circling, decent head movement. Again, that's the little rhythm that he gets in when he's trying to just warm up, right? His striking a little bit, pivot on the front foot. There's El Rayo in the background there. Not a lot of post punch defense, a little fancy spinning bullcrap there, right? And then we see him doing it again here. Bad. Bop bop. Bad. Now, I think that he's I don't remember who he's training to fight here, but this is not for uh Morrell. This is just other stuff. So he's 1-1-2-3, 1-1-2-3, pop, 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 pop. Just working on throwing combinations, but not really any mechanics, but just working on the timing of them. Beat, 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 beat. Boom, 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 boom. Man, nice, nice speed. And again, this move here, bop, 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 and then rolling under that side. That's not how you do that. He shouldn't be doing this move here. It's more like what he's doing there is more like a dart, right? But he's doing a bad dart, bad block as well. Just smacking him on the forearm. Again, we see this hole right here. What if this was an uppercut, right? We saw in the Devin Haney video, his coach threw that little pad up and he threw it up through the middle. It was able to hit him up through here. Boom. He could hit him around the guard if he wanted, right? But he could also just kind of scoop in right here on his cheek because his arm is so flared out. Not as bad if you know a shot is coming, right? And you're going to roll under that shot. Boom, roll. But again, I don't really like that post punch defense. I think there's better things to be doing. A little bit of striking, circling to the inside and throwing a left hook. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to the little break that he takes right here, right? Now, a lot of people think like speed is like speed, right? Like your hand speed, how quick your punch is coming. Tank Davis very famously said that, on TV, Ryan Garcia looks fast, but you watch him in person and he's slow. And only a fighter is going to really understand what they mean. But we can very, very clearly see David Benavidez circling and moving around, and we see this little break right here, right? Oh, he's getting planted right there. If you see that coming, you see that he gets planted right there. There's a break in his rhythm where he's moving. He's going to throw a punch, right? And you can see that he has to get settled and planted, right? This is part of his speed. This is part of what makes him not that fast, right? No, he's fast. He's incredibly fast once he gets going, right? But getting planted and getting your weight to the ground, that's one of those things that your stepping jab can help you do, close the distance and get planted. But you can see him moving around, right? And look at pause. You can see his break in the movement, right? Boom. And then he breaks into the shots, right? Which means that if David Morrell jumps onto his line with a stepping jab right now, boom, 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 he might jump into a shitload of punches, right? Little control, tap, 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 and then moving into a sequence. I like the kind of training that they're doing, a little bit of that stuff, right? Making sure that they practice stuff that's not always the hardest and intense, right? I mean, they're not really doing that right now. But it's very important that you work hard in your training, that you really put some effort in, that you really try to go fast, that you really try to throw hard punches, and everyone is so worried about, you know, throwing the perfect technique and aren't you supposed to do it like this and aren't you supposed to do it like that and aren't you supposed to, and I just want to let you guys know that uh, your technique and your strength level is so fucking far away from doing it at a professional level. You're so far away that you're worried about doing it quote unquote perfect, but you're not even close to doing it at a professional level of speed or power, right? What does it matter if it's quote unquote, it looks the part? It's not even close on any spectrum, and continuing to throw weak ass punches and not working hard in your training because you're like, oh, I want it to look like I have good form. You don't understand what kind of animals you're getting in there if you're always worried about having perfect form. You just have no idea what you're talking about. Okay? Because I'll tell you, eventually you're going to fight some guy who's just jacked, right? He's just jacked. He's just strong. He's just an animal. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to get on your line and do this. And it doesn't matter if he doesn't move his head. It doesn't matter if A, B, C, D. It doesn't matter because he can do this to you. And you can't stop him. And you can't do that either. Right? Anyway, beautiful little bag work here. Again, there's a lot of stuff that you can just be adding. But man, look at the hand speed, right? Now, again, I want to point out, you can still see it. Bop, 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 bop. There's a beat that he has to get planted, right? Where he breaks his rhythm and he has this big pause, right? Now, you're David Morrell and you're like, oh, he's rocking active guard. Oh, God, oh, God. And then he pauses right there. What do? As soon as he jumps in here, you just throw a right hook. You just throw it. You just Ryan Garcia that right hook, right? And you just whap him, right? And you can catch him, right? You got to be on your shit. Man, I just want to hear that real quick. Beautiful. He's pretty quick. It's very, very, very talented. Very, very difficult to do that. Excellent drill. If you guys can do that, do it. Okay. But again, some of the very interesting nuances when you look at their training, almost no head movement, right? Stepping jab, bridging the gap between them. I do want to say that David Benavidez trains with much more intensity than David Morrell. It's not like David Morrell doesn't have stuff that he has intensity with, right? Because he will throw shots hard. But this makes me wonder, in the fights and we're going to be watching them on Patreon and on Discord. If you guys join the Fouts Boxing Academy, all the film studies that are on Patreon, they wind up going to the Discord as well. Even more film studies go on the Discord than in the Patreon. And it's only $3 a month more if you get a 1-year membership. I think it's like $160 or something for a year, which is nothing, right? It's nothing because it also comes with tons and tons and tons of coaching and tons of drills and teach you how to do all this stuff. And if you guys work hard, I can turn you into David Benavidez in 6 months. Okay, he's not that good. Okay, I can teach you how to do this shit easy. But having some intensity and practicing with some intensity will go a long way, right? But early in the fight, I 100%. Oh, some speed bag. I never seen David Benavidez on the speed bag before. That's cool. Um, but the fight, as far as how the fight's going to play out, let's go back and watch some more of this Mitt work. Actually, yeah. As you can see, he gets planted there. Boop. Beat, 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 beat. You can see that beat. He doesn't hide it very well. He's getting better at it as he gets more into the drill. But he is very slow in that regard. Not slow, but that's the thing that Ryan Garcia sucks at, getting planted himself, right? Actually making sure that you're in range to hit your opponent and planted, right? In range and planted. But anyway, um, both of these guys are, neither one of them are good at moving their head in their training. It looks like I think David Benavidez is going to be better at circling, more circling skills. However, they both make the very, very, very flawed pivot on the front foot. Um, David Benavidez is just so fast once you're on the line with him, though, that if he can organize his defense and his counter punching, that it'll be very dangerous for David Morrell to get on his line. But I don't know if he's a counter puncher. It's one of the things that we're going to see. But David Morrell is also not going to be he's not going to be shy about throwing punches at David Benavidez, and that's going to really go a long way in allowing him to possibly control David Benavidez and get, I don't want to say get lucky, but score his puncher's chance of a victory. Now we're going to be watching. I think David Benavidez has like the Demetrius Andrade fight, which we're going to watch on Patreon and Discord. He also has this other fight. I can't remember what it is, but it's a 12-round southpaw fight that he has from a few years ago. We're going to watch that all the way through. We're going to watch a bunch of David Morrell fights because this is the defining fight for both of these guys' career. This is the Errol Spence. This is the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford fight for these guys. Okay, the winner of this gets to be that guy, and the loser gets to be the other. Now, that's not really the case in this instance. Both of these guys are going to have incredible careers after this fight, but this is going to be the one that says, oh, like Teofimo Lopez when he got that fucking decision over Lomachenko, could have went on and been like one of the best fighters ever. Wound up, doing what I don't know in his camp against Kambosos and somehow losing that fight. Who knows how? But anyway, we're going to be watching a bunch of David Morrell, a bunch of David Benavidez stuff, talking about his training, talking about things that they need to do to get better in the fights, what kind of mistakes. There will be a YouTube video in a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks. But we're going to be doing a lot of film on these guys because, this is a very, very, very big fight. Just like the Tyson Fury-Usyk fight, I thought Tyson Fury was just going to be a little bit too big for Usyk, but Usyk showed that he's an animal. And now, like if Tyson Fury beat Alexander Usyk, in 2 years, 3 years, if Usyk didn't come back and avenge the losses to Fury, people would just forget about him. Right? Who's Andre Ward? Right? And same thing, right? In a few years, if Tyson Fury doesn't come back and actually get in shape and maybe get a six-pack, and if you guys are learning to get in shape, if you guys are not in shape and you want to get in shape, you want to get stronger, you want to learn, I have a program I'm working on. But anybody can do it, right? Tyson Fury, there's no reason your fat ass can't get a six-pack and you can't get in shape, right? Huh. Oh, I thought he was about to do some other stuff. I thought he was about to do some, but he's just doing the same striking stuff. But anyway, all that stuff. I think that, this is a very, very, very important fight for these guys. It's very interesting that Benavidez chose to take this fight and not to just wait on Canelo or just moving up and starting to fight Beterbiev. I want to say that those are better options for him. I don't think the upside is there for him for beating Morrell. I don't think it's there. I think that there's a massive amount of upside for Morrell fighting Benavidez because even if he loses, everyone's just going to say, oh, he just wasn't ready. Everyone will be willing to give him a shot. He's only been a pro for like 3 years or 4 years, right? Like real 2 years, right? Maybe. I don't know how long he's been a pro. But nobody's going to punish him in his career for a loss here. And this will be a big loss for David Benavidez. And he might lose. He might lose by knockout. He might. He might get hit and hurt. The only thing is, one of the things that I was saying earlier, again, David Benavidez knows the cost of business. He knows how dangerous this fight is. He knows how serious he needs to take this fight. And we saw him going nuts in the open workout a month before. He's already in that kind of shape. So um, I'm not sure that Ronnie Shields has what it takes to continue pushing and helping David Morrell get better. Um, but we'll see. If David Morrell tires at all against David Benavidez, I think David Benavidez will knock him out. But I do also think that this is a fight that, man, I want to say that because I thought that what's his name was David Benavidez was going to knock out Vostik, and Vostik arguably won that fight, right? I think it was close. I can't remember who I gave it to, but it was a very, very close fight, especially on the second watch, I think. Um, but yeah, anyway, yeah, check out the check out the film studies on Patreon or Discord. See you guys.